My name is Makenzie Moor. I studied a Bachelor of Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering at the University of Queensland, and I'm currently a mechanical engineer working in the energy team at Oricon, focusing on renewable energy technologies and storage. I am so passionate about working in the Australian energy industry and having a career in power because Australia has one of the most inherently complicated electricity networks in the world. We also have one of the most inherently challenging networks to decarbonise because we were nearly 100% fossil fuel based. So we're going from these really large fossil fuel power generation to much more distributed energy generation that's a lot more variable. We have to completely change how we think about how we generate power, how we transport it, store it, and then ultimately consume it. And I just think that's a really cool space to work in. Not only are we doing it at such an unprecedented amount of change, it's just the rate that that's changing. And I'm really happy and really privileged to get to work with some of the smartest minds in the country on how we actually solve these problems. One fun fact about choosing a career in power is that your career just doesn't look like one thing. Because there is so much change happening, we kind of need a whole of industry approach to how we decarbonise. So your career in energy will look fundamentally different. What my career and what I was working on 2 years ago looks completely different to what I'm working on today, both in terms of the types of problem I'm solving and the technology that I'm using to solve it. In terms of skills or capabilities that I think you need to work in the power sector, I think it first depends on what area of the power sector you want to work in. So if you want to work in a really technical capacity like an engineer, going to university and studying engineering, chemical, mechanical, electrical is probably your best shot. Building those really good problem solving skills, but adaptability to change, I think is really important. So I think as long as you have those skill sets in terms of being adaptable to change and passionate about problem solving, regardless of which pathway you choose, if you have your end goal in working in the power sector, I can guarantee you'll get there. So I have not always worked for the same company. My career progression has been really, different over the last few years. I currently work at Oricon, which is a consulting firm, and I get to work on a range of clean energy technologies and future fuels. Before joining Oricon, I used to work at a company called EDL, which is a world leader in distributed energy and renewable energy generation in remote communities and towns. Before working at EDL, I was studying at university, and I was actually studying a degree of mechanical and aerospace engineering. I was dead set on working on the aerospace sector because I'm super passionate about problem solving and I wanted to apply it to aviation, but I'm also super passionate about decarbonisation and sustainability. So I made this big decision to completely change directions and then walk into the power industry, and I could not be happier that I've done that. One woman in power who really inspires me, her name is Emily Kirsch. She's the founder of Powerhouse Ventures, which is a startup company that provides seed funding to clean tech startups. She has this podcast called What It Takes, which is one of my favourite podcasts, and she interviews people who are clean tech founders or CEOs. The questions she asks and the way she draws out information and the people she interviews is just so fascinating. And as someone who's really passionate about STEM communication, she's very inspiring to me.